You ever watch someone make the worst mistake of their life? In front of a building full of people who, literally, do law for a living. Because that's exactly what happened the morning Officer Trent Baylor decided to pull over a black man in a Navy suit outside the Bellington County Courthouse, less than 20 feet from where his future unemployment letter might as well have already been printed. Now, Trent wasn't new. He'd been patrolling the wealthier side of the city for nearly 8 years. Thought he knew every type. So when he spotted a sleek black Audi gliding through 4 green lights, like it had nothing to hide, and saw the driver, a calm, clean-cut black man in his 40s wearing a Rolex and listening to jazz, his radar didn't just beep, it screamed. Trent hit the lights, no reason. Really. Just that gut feeling. The same one that always told him something wasn't right when it came to who looked like they belonged. The car pulled over gently. No hesitation. Driver had his window down before Trent even got out. License and registration already in hand. Polite, quiet, respectful. Too quiet. "You in a rush this morning?" Trent asked, leaning down like he expected attitude. "No, sir." "Is there a reason I was pulled over?" the man replied, calm. That's when Trent saw the suit, the cufflinks, the leather briefcase on the passenger seat. The name badge clipped to it, though he didn't read it. Not yet. He just smirked. "This your car?" "Yes." "You rent it?" "No, sir. I own it." That was enough for Trent. He didn't introduce himself, didn't cite a violation, just asked the man to step out. And when the man, still calm, asked, "Am I being detained? Or am I free to go?" Trent's fingers brushed his taser like it was a reflex. "You're resisting." No, he wasn't. But at that point, it didn't matter. Trent yanked open the door, shoved him against the car, and slapped the cuffs on tight enough to leave bruises. Then came the words that changed everything. "You people never just cooperate, do you?" Silence. The kind of silence that thickens the air, that draws phones out of pockets and strangers out of crosswalks, the kind that makes history snap into place. See, the man Trent had just cuffed like a criminal in broad daylight, outside a courthouse, with no legal reason, was not just any black man. He was Julian Mercer. And Julian Mercer was the federal prosecutor scheduled to prosecute a major civil rights case that same morning. Let that sink in. And Trent had just handed him the opening argument, in handcuffs. Now, Julian. He didn't scream, didn't curse. He turned his head, looked at the courthouse steps, then at Trent, and said barely above a whisper, "You have no idea what you just started." By the time they reached the precinct, Officer Carla Nunez, who'd picked up an extra shift that morning, already sensed something was off. Julian didn't act like a man just arrested. No panic, no pacing, just stillness, the kind that says, "I'm not here by mistake, you are." She pulled the booking sheet. No priors, no flags. Clean license. Home address 3 blocks from the mayor's. Then she saw it, the leather-bound folder. DOJ insignia in gold. His ID, real, embossed, official. She walked over to Trent's desk. "You ran his plates." "Right, yeah, all clean," he muttered, typing like his keyboard owed him rent. "You sure this wasn't just—" "A bad read," she said quietly. Trent snapped. "What's that supposed to mean?" He didn't resist. "He gave you everything. But you cuffed him anyway. He had an attitude." "Carla, so now we arrest for tone?" she asked, raising an eyebrow. That's when she held up the badge holder. Trent froze. "You even look at this?" she asked. His mouth opened, closed, nothing came out. "Now let me back up a sec." Julian had a plan. The moment those cuffs locked, he knew the system would protect itself. So he didn't scream on the street, didn't post on Twitter. He waited. Waited for court. And when the judge called his case State versus Julian Mercer, the room went dead still. The judge blinked. "Mr. Mercer, do you have legal counsel?" Julian stood up, brushed his jacket sleeve, and said loud enough for the entire room, "Yes, Your Honor, I do." "Where is your counsel?" He smiled, just slightly. standing right here. Gasps. Pens stopped moving. Even the ADA flinched. And then came the twist. Julian pulled out his own arrest footage. The original dashcam file, unedited, handed to him quietly by Officer Carla Nunez the night before. Because she'd reviewed the footage, she saw it all. The sneer, the taunt, the way Trent said "you people." She knew what she was looking at, and she wasn't going to be part of the lie. When that footage hit the courtroom monitors, the silence wasn't shock. It was shame. Deep, heavy, unforgiving. Julian didn't perform. He just let the images speak. Then, one more move. He called a witness. Not a lawyer, not a law clerk. A 17-year-old named Elijah Ray. Thin, nervous, shaking as he took the stand. "Elijah," Julian said gently, "do you remember the day Officer Baylor stopped you?" The boy nodded. "And what happened?" "He threw me down," Elijah whispered. "In front of my sister. Said I looked like a suspect." "Were you a suspect?" "No. I was walking home from school." Julian let that hang, then turned to the judge. "Your Honor, I stand here not just for myself, but for every person dragged into a courtroom, not for what they've done, but for who they are." And the judge, she didn't say a word for a full minute. When she finally did, her voice cracked just once. "In the matter of Mr. Julian Mercer, this court finds the arrest unlawful. All charges are dismissed with prejudice." Now that should have been the end, but it wasn't. Because outside the courthouse, no reporters waited. Julian stepped out alone, no press conference, no grand speech. Just one quiet post on his social media, a photo of the folded charging document, and a caption that read, "Forgiveness is not owed, and silence speaks volumes." That post went viral in 5 minutes. But Julian, he didn't comment, didn't gloat. He went back to work, filed cases, argued motions, never once brought up Trent's name in an interview. But Trent, he couldn't sleep. 1 week later, he turned in his badge. No statement, just an envelope left on Carla Nunez's desk with 5 words. "You were right. I failed." And the city? Well, it changed. Probably done easily so, but it changed. Because for the first time, someone like Julian didn't just walk out free. He walked out louder, in silence, than anyone ever had in a shout. Now I gotta ask, was justice served that day? Or was it just delayed long enough to make a point? Let me know in the comments, was that enough? Should Julian have done more? Should Trent have faced charges? Or was walking away the most powerful thing he could have done? And if you believe stories like this matter, stories that call out the quiet wrongs and shine light on truths the system buries, hit subscribe, and share this with someone who needs to hear it. Because sometimes, justice doesn't roar. It waits. And when it speaks, you feel it.